and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Now, I'm expecting big things from you this week, Nelson, because before we started recording, you just revealed to me you've just had your booster shot, which means you're boosted. You're
boosted.
ready to go. And you've had your mandatory 24 hours now to feel bad about that, you know?
Yeah.
So now you should be top of your game.
It is really funny, actually, because if you think about the first Spider-Man film, actually maybe all of them, I don't know, but like the Tobey Maguire one, I remember specifically, he gets bit and then he's like feverish and he's feeling really shit, and then the next day he's like, oh, I'm all better again, and also I've got muscles and stuff, and it really does feel like I went through that same thing. Like I had a 24-hour period where I was like just a bit achy all over, kind of, you know, not feeling great basically, and then I just had a good old sleep, and yes, now I am a superhero.
Yeah, so well, you could tell the next morning. Remember,
I'm using my powers for evil, not good.
You knew that it took effect because the next morning, remember when you got up and you put your glasses on in the mirror, but everything was all blurry, and then you took the glasses off and everything was clear, and then blurry, then clear.
And I was like, wait a second, I've never needed to wear glasses.
No wonder it's so blurry when I put them on.
Yeah, and that's when I realized that I'd become smarter.
You've been wearing them for years before that.
I think. Yeah. Everything was so blurry. It was the worst. Anywho, you can probably tell, we're doing a remote recording again.
Yes.
Because Cambo and Stacey have the clap, and I'm not getting any of that. So.
Well, we're doing it out of an abundance of caution, I would say. We both have an event next weekend, and Stacey hasn't been feeling that well, though all of the rapid tests have come back negative so far. But you never want to be that guy, do you? So just to be super careful, we're both just at home doing a remote record again. We thought we'd never be back here, Nelson, but 2022,
yes. Alas, here we are. Anyway, let's get into it, though. Do you know what I realized? Is I hadn't had many posts from the subreddit Science for a while.
Okay.
So, thought I'd get one.
You've remedied that, have you?
Yep, I've remedied it, and here we are. Here it is, in fact. This is by the Bell Snickle 1991.
The Bell Snickle?
It's so weird. It's like, I'm pretty sure this person, I've read their posts before, probably from Science. Because I think unlike other subreddits, I think there's some more common posters in the subreddit Science. Because it's probably, I guess, you can't really contribute unless you're maybe part of that scene a little bit more or something. You know, like you're a scientist yourself perhaps and looking at these studies and, I don't know, or reading journals or something.
This is coming from the Belschnickel, right? Mm-hmm. I would be more comfortable if it was coming from Dr. Belschnickel, PhD, if they're commenting so concretely on r/science.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Could be all... maybe not scientific based, and then that's fine. Or does that make it worse?
Like the Legend of the Belschnickel itself, which I think is a Christmas thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Anywho, newlywed couples tend to have increased relationship satisfaction after experiencing a natural disaster together, according to new longitudinal research that examined the impact of Hurricane Harvey.
Okay, so but is it just newly married couples? Like, say, what if they're engaged to be married? Does that impact them adversely?
Not until God has approved of your relationship will this psychological effect take hold. No, I guess it's probably... it's probably easier to narrow down the field to newlywed rather than being have you recently been engaged or something? Yeah. I don't know. Because I guess it gives like a certain level of strength to a relationship
Well,
you know, that it's like hit some point on a spectrum, you know, that said like you were comfortable enough to get married, so like we'll start with that data of those people.
Yeah,
but maybe I guess it could be used more broadly.
There is something incredibly bonding over like very unique worldly experiences as well. I mean, this is to a much smaller degree, but even people that have just gone traveling, especially on those like, you know, the young, I almost called them young people tours, you know, like they're like the Katikis and stuff like that.
Young people tours.
I've done one of those. I've done one of those before, and you do become very good friends very quickly with everyone because immediately within several days of meeting them, you've done this amazing bucket list experiences with them all in one go. And you do end up just being really good friends with them for a very intense, short period of time. And I wonder if it has the same effect, like amplified even more. So it's someone that you have known for a long time and then a natural disaster happens and you go through this once in a lifetime experience that is so unique to you guys that it just bonds you even further.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. I actually remember as well listening to a TED Talk a long time ago, and it was about a scientist talking about, you know, love being a chemical reaction and whatnot, and how you can manipulate that. Well, actually, her point was that you can't manipulate it. And she said that there was a correlation between, I'm going to say, and don't quote me on this, but like adrenaline and love kind of thing. Or, you know, like it would, if you had a surge of adrenaline, then you are more likely to feel this feeling of love or connection or attraction sort of thing. And she said, so she was working on this study, and one of her like trainees who was part of the study, he was like, sweet, I'm going to try and use this to my advantage, and took a girl on a date to a like theme park, and they were on the roller coaster and they're having a good time, and she's like, you know, being like, oh my God, this is so scary, blah, 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 oh, going on the roller coaster. And she said, that was so amazing. And that roller coaster ride operator is so attractive. So you might not be able to direct necessarily.
It's like one of those Ghostbusters protein packs where they whip it around all the, like, you can't really tell where the love's going to land. It's just going everywhere. Just happen to hit the wrong target.
Yeah, exactly. Poor dude. But
poor dude trying to take advantage of a woman by using science to manipulate her to fall in love. When's he going to get a break?
It's better than some other methods. Kemba. Let's be fair. I mean, I guess the other scientific method is Rufalin.
Well, yeah, less legal though.
Yeah, less legal.
Roller coasters
frowned upon quite a bit more than just being like, I hope to show you a good time where your
roller
coasters will increase a little
haven't been stigmatized yet until the creep community gets wind of this information.
I like that in the future you go to a theme park and there's just creepy dudes like hanging around. They don't line up for the rides until a woman goes ahead of them, and then all these like single weirdos try to go behind her, so I think it's interesting, kind of. I don't know, drawing that correlation. I don't know if they do match. Maybe that adrenaline thing is totally irrelevant to this situation, but yeah, going through such a large or traumatic experience, I think, is really interesting. Maybe then, if you're worried about your new marriage, you should cause a natural disaster.
Causing a natural disaster would be impressive. Causing a man-made disaster, anyone can do that. But if you've somehow caused a natural disaster, if you've shifted the planet so much that a natural disaster occurs, that's impressive.
I mean, how much do you have to do before a man-made disaster is a natural disaster? Like, I imagine you set off an explosive somewhere, large explosive, that causes an earthquake, then that causes a tsunami. You know, like is the tsunami a natural disaster or is that man-made?
I mean, in what category does global warming fit? Technically man-made, but we're not technically warming the earth. That is just the result of the actions we've taken. I
also don't know if technically classified as natural disaster. I don't
know. Then I
I
think when there's events of global warming, like massive bushfires in Australia in 2020, like there was, they're classified as natural disaster, but are argued to be a result of inaction on climate change as well. So, like, it's a bit of both, weirdly, where it's like, is something man-made, but it causes a lot of natural disasters because of it?
Yeah, yeah. I think you should. You know what? Why? I bet you this study didn't think of unnatural disasters, though. I bet you didn't.
Maybe any disaster will do.
How about just like a home invasion? You know,
what if you
just newlywed?
What if you just go see the movie Cats? And you look at it, it's like, that was a disaster. What? That was so creepy.
God. Did you see the assholes of those cats? Oh my God.
What if they edit them out now? I forgot which version of Cats we saw.
Yeah. That would bring me closer together. Yeah,
we need to know what they did.
I'm sure.
Is it just natural disasters or is it any disaster? And if it's any disaster, what scale of disaster does it need to be? These are questions we need answered for science.
Like, what if you just broke a mug? Ugh, you know?
But like their favorite mug. Like it needs to be
a disaster. Their favorite mug. Yeah. Oh, no. Well, you don't want to be the one to do it. You want something else because surely that would also not be great. Like when your partner learns that you caused that natural disaster, you know. It's all great until you're like, I set off a bomb because I thought it'd be closer. It doesn't closer together.
It doesn't work as well as if you go into the kitchen and they see you pull out their favorite mug and throw it on the ground, and then they say, "What are you doing?" And you say, "This is going to sound crazy, but you're going to love me even more for this."
Yeah. Just wait for this to settle in.
I think you'll be finding me even more attractive, actually.
Yeah, it's
now, I've got 2 tickets to that roller coaster.
It's a risky game that you play.
That's love, though, Nelson. That's love.
That's love. That's what they don't. That's what they don't teach you. You know, in school about love breaking your partner's mug to try and
love is one disaster after the other.
Yeah. That's very poetic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Only people that have listened to this inscrutable last 15 minutes will understand the context that sentence is actually quite romantic.
Yeah. I think you should print it on a T-shirt.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll get right up. Yeah, mug. Yeah,
and then destroy that mug.
Yeah. I like that.
Somehow, love has come down to breaking mugs.
Here's another quote for you: "Love is breaking mugs and roller coasters."
That's ridiculous. Okay. All right, let's move on, Cambo, into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit is by Life's a Bystander. Men, what do you wish your fellow men would stop doing immediately?
Tricking women onto going onto roller coasters.
Stop breaking mugs.
Breaking mugs. What?
I mean, that's up there.
Yeah. What do you wish other men would stop doing immediately?
I mean, honestly, in general, the whole, sexual harassment.
Oh, yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's a big... I was trying to think of, like, small, minute things, but yeah, like sexual harassment.
I'm willing to go to the small, minute things too, but let's start high end.
Not believing in the wage gap. Saying this is specifically white men like you and I, Nelson. And I would say this is more said by people a few generations older than us, that this sentence, it's actually white men that are the most prosecuted in today's society. That can stop.
Oh, I had such a long conversation with somebody one day that was specifically this topic.
Yeah.
Do you know they are the most depressed in society? Get fucked. Jesus Christ. It's just like... Yeah, it is depressing. So yeah, that'd be good to stop all that.
They're the biggies. They're the biggies. Unsolicited
is,
dick pics I'm going to put up there as well.
Unsolicited dick pics. Because here's the thing. Aside from, right, because I feel like this question maybe implies, because it reflects poorly on all men, right?
Yeah.
And so I think... like just very much from a from a selfish point of view, obviously don't do it for many reasons, but specifically for this question, because I find it so awkward sometimes if you're actually, you know what, this is a slightly different example, but I feel like it's somewhere along the same lines, which is like creepy guys and around kids or something like that. Like I get rid of all those pedophile guys, because I feel so awkward sometimes around my like niece and nephew, just sort of hanging around them. The other week they came over to my place. I was looking after them, and we went into the pool, and my nephew, obviously they didn't have any bathers, so they just went swimming in like their undies. But and so my nephew, he's like not wearing a t-shirt, and then I said to my niece, I was like, oh, you've got to like put this t-shirt on though, which was mine, right? Because she didn't have any other clothes. She needed like dry clothes. It wasn't intention that she was going to swim in the pool. So I was like, okay, so you need to wear like my t-shirt, and it's like way too big on her, and she like can't, swim with it on, and it's like awkward. And so she ends up like taking it off. She's like, why do I have to wear this? And I was like, the truth is you have to wear that because there's fucking like creeps in the world, and not just that might come into this pool area. It's like a private sort of like pool. I mean, it's for the apartments around, so it wasn't like there was nobody there while we were there or anything. But I was like, but for one, there might be like a weirdo that comes in and you're a girl with your top off kind of thing, but also anybody might be judging me for like looking at her with her top off sort of thing. And I was like, I fucking hate that. To her, it's just like, why can't I just do this? There shouldn't be any issue with this at all. And I have to be like, well, no, it's because there's shitty people in the world, basically, that you and your brother have to conform to different rules kind of thing. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I hate, I guess, that society is dictated by the worst people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right.
And the worst people, by and large, are men.
And the worst people are men. Yeah.
And it's, well, like, here's an example of that, I guess, is you're stuck with a stigma as well, I would say, which is in the family. The cliche is if there's a creepy family member, it's the uncle.
Yeah.
You very rarely hear about a creepy aunt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. And so yeah, I always just feel awkward about that, and like, and then I hate that I feel awkward about that, and really it's because of other fucking creepy men.
Yeah. The one that I think should stop is this notion, and it's pretty normalized, I would say, of to man up, which essentially is to suppress everything.
Yeah.
Like, if you man up, I understand that there's context in which it's like being brave and things like that, but a lot of you just need to man up is ignore that, suppress it, and forget about it, because that's what men do. But I would say that anyone that subscribes to that is probably not very in touch with a lot of their key emotions that they probably should be. And this idea that men are not emotional.
Yeah. Girl up, they should say.
Yeah. we'll start that.
I think that's just
hey, man,
bad
it's really...
for different reasons, but it's just as bad. But yeah, I think, that's a good one as well. The whole idea of toxic masculinity and whatnot. I find it really awkward. The other day I was at the gym, and I'm only just starting to get back into the gym, or particularly doing weights, and you just get like looks from guys that are, way more beefy kind of thing. They've been lifting weights for a long time, and I just hate that so much from being at the gym, and because I'm doing like, I'm doing like squats, and I've got on the bar like these tiny 5 kilogram weights. Like it looks really like pathetic. And I caught one guy kind of like kind of laughing at me a little bit because my weight's like, I was like, fuck you, dude. It's like, I'm not that strong. I'm trying to get stronger. And I just hate that kind of idea about it as well. Like, you're not really a man because you need to put heaps of weight on, and you need to be like straining and
I will say one of the benefits I would say to the gym that I go to is that is pretty much completely absent.
Well, your gym doesn't really have like heavy weightlifting sort of.
No, it does.
It doesn't have that.
They have weight days where you do squats and curls and all kinds of stuff. But they've also got like this thing of like, there's no.
I don't think.
No, they do. They don't do like long
I
sessions.
mean, not saying. I'm not, okay.
But what I'm saying is,
I think to
I'm saying the culture is way different because it's not the like weightlifting. Yeah, weightlifting is a completely different thing, I suppose. But like, there are things that are like traditional weight exercises that you do on certain days, but the vibe there is so at your own speed kind of thing, and like they even have this weird thing of like no mirrors as well, to be like, don't worry about it, just do what you could do, and that's fine. Which is actually until I went somewhere else in like a very brief thing where I couldn't go to my normal gym, and I realized like, oh man, this is way different, and I realized I've become so accustomed to the very like wholesome, supportive nature of my gym that it was like a bit of a shell shock.
Yeah, it's funny. Although I actually think in the years it's gotten a lot better. Like I used to go to the gym a lot when I was even younger. Although maybe that's just because I was younger and I don't know, felt a bit different in general. But I feel like, from when we were younger to now, there is this sort of acceptance of people trying to exercise and be more healthy. Every year that goes on, it feels like society accepts that a bit more as like, people just like it's the normal thing to do. I feel like when I was really young, like going to a gym was such a weird and unique sort of thing to do. You'd be like, oh, look at Steve. Steve goes to the gym.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's unique and interesting. But now it's just like a normal kind of thing. People just go to the gym. And
there was a really nice thing, in fact, again, that my gym put out over New Year, which is like, we know New Year there's going to be a lot of extra people at the gym, but try and be the reason that someone stays at the gym. Because like a lot of people give up very quickly after New Year, which is kind of the cliche. So if you can be the reason that someone actually stayed at the gym because you were very nice and supportive to them, you should be that person. And I'm like, I like that message. That message of being like, they're just starting out. They're not really sure exactly what to do. If you judge them or ignore them or anything like that, it's going to be harder for them. And if you're just accepting and actually help them and don't judge them, then they're more likely to actually want to stick with it.
You should supply them addictive drugs.
That they can only get at the gym.
I will only supply these to you after a workout. That's
a good one.
That will be a successful gym, let me tell you. Okay, here's another one. This is by Draken11577. Would you bag groceries for the entirety of your working career if you got paid $100,000 a year to do it? Why or why not?
I don't know. I've never done it. So
bagging groceries,
yeah. Like
I mean, I feel like it's just trying to imply like a fairly mundane job.
Yeah, mundane job. So like,
do people still bag groceries?
No.
Is that a thing?
No, I don't think so. At least not.
And when did that
live.
stop?
A couple of years back.
And why? Couple of years back?
Like I would say a couple. It's probably been 10 years now. When did the self-serves come in?
Oh, you think it's early? Wait, what? No, I mean, ever since I've been alive, I haven't seen.
Yeah. Oh well,
bag groceries.
if you go to a traditional checkout, they will put it in the bag for you and push it down the end.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm assuming that is what they mean by bagging groceries. But I think what they're actually meaning is that 1950s image of the person down the end of the checkout that just puts them into paper bags and gives them to you. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I imagine. Does that? I'm genuinely interested to know if that exists still in other parts of the world.
Yeah, and if it does, must be nice. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
let's pivot this then, I guess, to something that we have both done in our lives. Would you be happy to be paid that salary but serve popcorn at the cinema for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a pretty mundane job. It's pretty repetitive.
That's my retirement plan.
Yeah. You've actually spoken about that before.
At the cinema.
Yeah, I probably would as well. You know, like it's not hard work necessarily. Unless something goes horrendously wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd do that now. If somebody is like $100,000, just set popcorn, I'm like, hell's yeah, sign me up, I'll do it. Because I guess the point is, right, that you might not be getting much out of your job or whatever if you're just bagging groceries, and it might actually make a slight difference, right? Because again, I don't know the stereotypical bagging groceries thing, but like we obviously had a pretty social kind of working environment while we were at the cinemas. Whereas, I don't know, maybe if you're standing at the end of an aisle, you know, and you kind of have, in the cinemas, you have like periods of rushed sort of times.
Yeah.
And you could like sort of work around the quiet periods because you knew when a movie wasn't going to go in, that's when it would be a bit quiet. And, it was a bit kind of, it wasn't like constant work, and it had a bit of a flow to it. So maybe that was a little bit more manageable than maybe if you were just at the end of a grocery aisle just putting stuff in people's bags sort of consistently for like 8 hours or something, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's downtime as well during that, but just... yeah, it might be a little bit more mundane than usual, and not sort of getting that, I guess, satisfaction out of your job. I think the thing is, though, that, and probably something that we might agree on, is that, like, your life doesn't really have to revolve around your job a lot.
Thank you. That was the point I was about to make, which is my validation in my life doesn't come from my job.
Yeah.
I think I'm all right at my job. I think my job is perfectly fine. But all the things that validate me are like things I do outside of my job, like this podcast or Cancel Movie Report, or like the relationship I have with Stacey, or like short films that I've made. They're the things that actually validate me. My job is just my job.
I think, and sort of importantly, I feel like obviously it can be something that you know, it is a large part of your life, and you sort of feel that can be important to you, and but I think not any one thing should be that. Like, I think your relationship with Stacey shouldn't be the only thing, or this podcast shouldn't be like the only thing that's, you know, important to you, or is like identifies who you are. And I think it's important to actually have multiple different things, because my life, I feel like, used to be the cinemas and stuff, and my career, you know, that used to be kind of what I was, how I, you know, use that to identify myself. But I feel like I became, and not that I was particularly sad or upset, but I just think became happier after I started getting to a little bunch of different hobbies, like this podcast, and like getting into D&D and things like that would sort of take up my time outside of work, that I was interested in, and got kind of involved in that community and whatnot, like esports and things like that. So I don't think anybody should be identifying with one thing. So hells yeah, if I got paid a lot of money for the one thing that I don't have to identify or make my life about, then sure.
Yeah, great.
All right, let's move into Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This advice is by So She Thinks. My boyfriend, 28, forgot my birthday, 27, 2 years in a row. Today is his birthday. I'm tempted to just forget it. Is that wrong?
Well, if we are going to live our lives by the values of the Christian faith, which we have been trying to do, Nelson, I believe they would say an eye for an eye will leave the world blind.
Yes. That's true. So do it? Because I've been watching a lot of Daredevil, and he doesn't need eyes, Camber.
Yeah, he's got other senses, and they're heightened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
an eye for an eye leaves your other senses heightened. Should be the same.
Yeah, I'm blind, but you know what? Now I'm a natural lie detector.
Yeah. I mean, that is a pretty cool, underrated aspect of Daredevil. You can just tell when people are lying.
So, this is a hard one. I think, especially for you and I, two men who I'd say don't care about our birthdays necessarily very much.
Yeah.
So if so, like, I did have friends, honestly, that forgot my birthday this year, and they sent me like apology messages a couple of days later, and I was like, I don't care. Like, and that's not to undervalue our friendship or anything, but I really don't mind that you didn't remember my birthday, because there's no reason you necessarily should have, because I'm not active on Facebook. I don't really promote it on any social media platform. There's really very little reason. I'd be impressed if you did. Like, I'm more impressed when people do than when they forget. But it depends, because other people, like, birthdays are such a personal thing. So I would say, if I, just from the very vague look that we got into this relationship, I'm going to guess that this dude probably isn't that into birthdays. Maybe this girl is a little bit more into birthdays. So she remembers because it's important to her. He doesn't care about birthdays, so he keeps forgetting. Would be my thing. Yeah. Like, if she forgot his birthday, he'd probably be like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to have the same impact you think it's going to have.
Yeah.
But I could be completely wrong. That's just my vague reading. Maybe he'll throw a hissy fit. Like, who knows?
Yeah. I sort of think when, we in general don't care too much about our birthdays too much. But I reckon it's different when it comes to partners, you know? Like, I've got a friend where I routinely miss her birthday almost by chance, like a few days after. Every time, every year. I'm like, just a few days after I miss it, and I'm like, God damn, why does this happen? If I was just slightly more conscious about it a few days earlier, I wouldn't forget. And I feel like that's kind of fine and whatever. But I feel like if it was my partner, there's just a bit more of an expectation that you try a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And
yeah, well, you're right. I was thinking about it in the inverse, which is the effect forgetting his birthday will have on him, which I think actually won't be as bad. But you're right. You're thinking what's the right word here? There's no compassion the other way. Like, he's clearly not thinking about doing something nice for her birthday. Yeah.
And I sort of also think like, I don't know, because I still feel like I don't have any expectations from friends or family on my birthday. But I think from my partner, like, at the very least, I want them to, like, acknowledge it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
for me to, like, do something with them at some point. and have very expensive gifts handed to me. Just the normal things.
Obviously, on that silver platter, your birthday gift platter.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you are completely right. As much as we say, we don't care about birthdays, it would be very weird if I woke up on my birthday and Stacey was just like, I had to leave for work early and I'll be back later or whatever. And like, she didn't remember. Yeah.
I think that joke's on him, because what I've been doing is I have been manipulating my partner, basically, by talking up my birthday a lot. And on her birthday, getting her presents and making them think that they're worth way more than they actually are, Cambo.
Yeah.
I spend pennies, but I just go to like the local Salvos, $2 shop, the op shops.
The op shops, yeah. The thrift stores for our American
thrift
friends.
Stores. Buy some jewelry. It costs you like $10, but it looks like you got like hundreds of dollars worth. And then on your birthday, you get so much, because you'd be like, remember all that stuff I got you that was really expensive? So you have to do it.
You need to get into the habit of creating fake price tags. And then you do that thing where you mark the price out, but sloppily enough that they can still make out the price.
Yeah.
Like I got one thing for Christmas actually, and the price was blacked out with a marker, but the tag was embossed.
Yeah.
So in the right light, the obviously the rim of the embossing gets caught by the line. You can just read the price anyway.
That's exactly the trick that you need to employ. Is to make it look like you're trying to hide the price, but really,
and make it a big price.
Yeah. Also, put their gifts in their favorite mug. And then what happens when you're bringing the mug over, Cambo?
I would say put the gifts in the mug for several years. Make them form a connection to the mug. And then you've got absolute premium breaking property there, because they're like, that's my birthday mug.
Yeah, birthday mug doesn't get used for anything else.
It's like a form of Pavlovian conditioning, isn't it? Every time the mug appears, gifts are given.
Yeah, it's a really hard premise to set up, isn't it? Like, hey, I put your presents all this year in this mug, and they'd be like, what?
Okay.
Why? Like, how many years do you have to do that before they're like, oh, looking forward to the mug this year?
Yeah, because the first year you really have to drive it home, don't you? Now, notice the mug. Do you see the mug? Yeah, it's a good mug, isn't it? I just wanted to bring your attention to that. Enjoy the gifts.
You have to also make sure that they know the mug isn't a gift itself. Yeah. You have to buy the mug ahead of time.
Yeah.
Have it around the house so that they know the mug.
You'd just be sitting in the kitchen, maybe drinking a cup of tea. You say, I'm just enjoying this cup of tea in this purple mug I have here. That's all. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. The only purple mug that we have. It's the only one. No others exist. You really need to make sure that it's one of a kind. Anyway, I'll do this. Today I learned this by Rexus. Today I learned a bridge in Ireland that was designed to swing open for ships couldn't be opened for 4 years because someone lost the remote control.
It seems crazy to me that they only had one.
Why just one? That's such a bad idea. It makes me nervous actually because like my car, normally you get like a few sets of keys, but and I think I left one at like my parents' place.
Yeah.
But then they've moved out since, and I don't know if I have a spare car key anywhere, and that makes me nervous because I'm like, if I just lost my car key, I'm done. Yeah. That's it. Like, I just have to leave it wherever it is.
Well,
So
this is my question, right? The phrasing of this says the bridge couldn't be open for 4 years because they lost the remote. But it's talking in past tense, which makes me think since it has been opened and they've found the remote.
yeah,
My
they
question
found
is,
it.
where was it? Like,
So-
who was the person on shift that, moved the fridge one day to try and get something and was like, oh, you're not going to believe this.
Oh boy,
That remote's down there. Oh, no.
This is embarrassing. I like the idea that it took until 4 years for somebody to say, well, where did you put it last? They're like, oh, thank God you're here. Just by the way, Campbell, I hate those people, in case I wasn't clear.
I know. Oh.
Well, the last place you put it.
It's always in the last place you look as well. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks
I mean,
for not
that's
helping
factually
to this.
True.
I know, but it's one of those facts where you're like, well, fucking obviously, isn't it?
Yeah. Saying it's always the last place you look and saying nothing at all are equivalently the same.
No, I would say they're
Both
not
things.
because one of them annoys people more. Saying nothing at all doesn't annoy anyone.
Yeah. But
I would say just to drive this point home even further, even though it's not really valid to this, saying nothing at all is neutral. Saying it's in the last place you looked is actively not helping.
yeah, that's true. It is such a weird thing, isn't it? I've never actually given that phrase more thought than I have right now.
I think
And
it should
is
be
such
said
a
in a
non-event thing to say.
Yeah, it should be. It's like when it's hot and everyone knows it's hot. Someone goes, "Oh, hot today." Like, it's one of those things where it's like no one has anything to say to it. You just go, "Yeah,
Yeah, technically true. It's not even a joke, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the intent. It's meant to be a funny joke, but it's not really.
Yeah, that's what
Anyway.
I've never got. Is it's never said with a comedic tone.
Yeah.
But clearly, given the context of the sentence, it's supposed to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
But no one's ever like, oh, it's always in the last place you look, isn't it? That makes more sense to me. But no one ever says it like that.
Yeah. I think that it's actually the equivalent of this podcast. It's not really that funny. Doesn't need to be said.
Yeah.
It's that's us.
It's like one of those sentences that people say and no one ever has anything to say about it, but people still say it all the time. You know what another one is? Like, oh, I'm tired. Like, what's anyone ever going to say to that? But people say it all the time.
No, I mean,
People
I
just
feel like that. No. I feel like I'm tired's different.
Is
It's
it?
like,
I feel like everyone's like, yeah.
No, but it's like giving
Yeah.
information that people didn't otherwise know. Saying it's hot when it's really hot, nobody needs to know that because that information already, exists.
out
They've already
there.
got that. Saying I'm tired when they might not know. I don't know. There's context behind that.
Okay.
I
Right,
guess.
so people continue telling Nelson when you're tired. He does
Let me
find
know.
some relevance in that information.
I'm interested to know.
That's how you do go around going, you tired? Yeah, I'd be tired.
tired?
Yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah. I said, well, say something.
For God's sakes, don't suffer in silence.
Okay, anyway, let's move into shower thoughts.
Oh, wrong one.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This is the time when the shower thoughts button and the podnapping button, both being blue, have finally come to bite me in the ass. Because I very quickly just went, oh, there's the blue one. Hit.
You're a bloody disgrace.
You would think that would happen way more often.
Yeah. It's impressive that it isn't. It's, it's really says something about society where people will comment more on the negatives rather than the positives, You might go to a restaurant 100 times, have perfect service, nice people, don't say anything, but then you go there and they give you terrible service and that's all you talk about.
Yeah.
Guys, think about the times where Cambo's pressed the button correctly.
I'm not looking forward to the slew of emails we're going to get about the fact that I pressed the wrong button.
Yeah. I'm going to send an email in, Cambo, saying thank you for pressing the correct button most of the time.
For 200 odd episodes. Or however long we've been doing Podnapping, I guess.
Anywho, this first one is by I3nary. Binary. I don't know. But binary. Yeah, I think it's meant to be binary. Anyway. As we speak, at least one person out there is describing your features and personality as the ideal concept of a soulmate.
Okay, so here's the thing with this, right? I am confident that somewhere out there someone is describing my features, because my joke has long been that if you were to go into a video game and go into a character creator and you select 30-year-old male, I would be the default that you start from.
Yeah.
Like, I'm average height. I've got like short brown hair. I've got a bit of stubble. Like, it's just the absolute starting point of any guy. Yeah. So I have no doubt that someone's like, yeah, I just want this average height, brown haired guy. Just a real average guy, you know.
Yeah, okay. That's good. I mean, I think that this is not true at all, ever, of me. Like, I want some guy that's, like, average looking. I mean, first of all, I don't think anybody normally starts with that anyway. It's like a, you know, if somebody's describing their perfect soulmate, I think normally they're looking for somebody that's a bit more attractive. I'm not saying that I'm ugly, but I don't think people start describing their soulmate as like, yeah, just like average.
You know, just absolutely average.
Absolutely average. Nothing special about them. Also, I want them to have a podcast. Not a successful podcast, obviously.
Well,
like something kind of pretty average
I was strictly,
as well.
When I said that, strictly talking about features, as in physical features. But yeah, personality. Yeah. Oh, God, no. God,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How would you describe physically you and I and make us sound different?
I've got a little bit of Italian in me.
But I don't think you look particularly Italian.
Ask the Italians that, can be.
Okay, yeah.
Every Italian person I walk past, they're like, hey, you got a bit of Italian in you? I'm like, how the did you know that?
Mamma mia, look at this guy, they say.
Yeah, that's often what they say. Unless, the only thing that I can actually, the only logical explanation for that, to me, I think, is that all Italian people ask all men if they've got a bit of Italian in them, and I just happen to always be the one that says yes. And they're like, I knew it, and that's the only explanation. Because otherwise, I don't think I really look.
I like to think there's a sense that only other Italians can pick up on, that all Italians give out.
Yeah,
that signifies other Italians.
Yeah, I think it's more of a musk that we let off.
It's all in the hand gestures, isn't it?
Yeah.
How expressive you are with your hand gestures.
Yeah. I mean, I am often always eating pizza and pasta and doing the bellissimo hands. Something. Is that what you call it?
I don't know.
Bellissimo?
You tell me.
Yeah,
you're the Italian of the podcast.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What I meant to say is, here, let me educate you and all the listeners. This is called the bellissimo hand, where you've got your 4 fingers together and your thumb in the middle, and you get it up like a triangle, and you wave it in the air. That's the bellissimo.
Yeah. I think you need to start signing off this podcast more Italian. Like, ciao bella.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And we'll switch out the ending music for Italian music.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Okay, here's another one. This is by Dr. Awkward 404. People never disclose when it's their first rodeo, but are always eager to inform everyone when it's not.
I tell you when I would disclose when it's my first rodeo is if I wouldn't disclose it pre-action, like whatever the action might be, but post-action, if I did well, I'd be like, And that was my first rodeo. Because then that's even more impressive.
I wouldn't want to be getting, surgery and for the doctor to be like, this is my first rodeo.
Yeah.
Certain times where it's not, I don't want to hear that it's your first rodeo.
I am very much for the idea of rodeos being used as a metaphor for everyday things. Like, say you're new at a job, you work in a retail store or something, and someone says, "Oh, where are the shoes?" You go, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is actually my first rodeo, so I'm not totally confident." But over there, that's Megan, not her first rodeo at all. So you got to, she's gonna know.
Many rodeos under her belt. So. That's true. We should use rodeo more, just in everyday language.
The good thing is we can say that the podcast, this is far from our first rodeo.
No, not our first rodeo. That's for sure.
Editing, though, I look forward to that rodeo one day.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, though, it's very deceptive, isn't it? Because it doesn't give actually an indication of how many rodeos you have had. It implies that you've had a lot of rodeos. But if it's only your second rodeo and you say, "Oh, not my first rodeo," people will feel far more confident in you than I think you actually.
Okay. Here's what I want to implement: is a rodeo audit. So when someone says to you, "Look, Nelson, it's not my first rodeo," you say, "But is it your second rodeo?"
Yeah. Is your second, third, or I'm going to say fourth rodeo?
Yeah. And if they clear the rodeo audit, then you can be confident. But say, let's take your example of a doctor, right? Yeah. You got some surgery and they're like, "Don't worry, it's not my first rodeo." You say, "But is it your second rodeo?" And they go, "Well, it's my second rodeo."
Well,
you feel like the confidence still isn't as high as it should be.
Mm-hmm. Did your first rodeo, aka patient, die? And what if you? That's another good point. Rodeos doesn't necessarily mean quality as well. But if the surgeon was like, "Don't worry, not my first rodeo," I say, "How about your second?" He's like, "Not my second either. This is like my 100th rodeo." I go, "Oh, that's fantastic. Have all your patients survived?" And he goes, "Not one of them." Number of rodeos does not.
You can get mauled by a bull at every rodeo.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a point that Carl Pilkington actually made on one of the old Ricky Gervais podcasts that I've always thought was kind of funny. It's specifically about doctors, where he said he doesn't like it when a doctor's like, "Oh, don't worry about the surgery. It's like piece of cake. Do it all the time." He's like, I like them to say, "Oh, it's actually a bit of a tricky one, this one. I'm really going to have to pay attention." He's like, if you do it all the time, you're not paying the most attention. It's quite an interesting point. Like, you want it to be hard enough that they're like, "Yeah, this is actually a bit of a head scratcher, but not impossible."
Yeah. I can do it.
Yeah.
But like,
so it's going to take a bit of effort. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm still convinced that. I mean, if you don't know Carl Pilkington, this is going to be a useless conversation to you. But I still think he's actually way smarter than they make him out to be. Because I think that he just he's very logical, but just in a slightly like odd angle.
I agree. I also think that Carl Pilkington knows why he's funny.
Yeah.
So that plays a lot into it. Like, he knows why he's funny. It's because he says these like left of center things.
Yeah.
It's just no one's ever approached it that way before.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have some weird theories that don't stand up as well, obviously. But I don't think he's nearly as dumb as he is portrayed to be. But he knows that he's funny because he's a bit dim.
Yeah. Because I remember another one they're talking about, like, "Oh, if you're a mashup of all animals, what would you be?" And he's like, "Oh, I'd be like a snail and a butterfly sort of thing." And because it's like protected because I got a shell, but then also I'm like nice to look at and stuff. And they were like losing their minds. And they're like, "Oh no, we'd be like a lion and an eagle or something, cool." I was like, but he's still logical. It's just for different reasons. Anywho, I'll do one last shower thought, yeah. It's strange. Oh, wait, so this is by Used Toothpick. It's strange how flat moon conspiracy isn't more popular since we only ever see one side.
Okay, yeah, this is interesting as well. Or just every planet.
Do you know...
Like, what about the sun?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean... They're pretty far away.
I would love...
But I reckon the reason why this isn't a conspiracy theory is because I think that people don't know this fact as, you know...
Right.
It's not as common fact that you literally only ever see one because it rotates at the exact same speed that it rotates around.
Yeah, the Earth and the Moon rotate at the same speed, so it's always facing the same way.
Yeah. And so... like it's on the exact right angle and whatever. And I was like, I think it's just that a lot of people don't know that. So that's why there isn't the conspiracy theory.
I would also love the idea that you go to someone that is a flat earther and you say, well, why don't you think that the moon is also flat? And they go, well, there's just not enough evidence of that.
I saw a really great image on Reddit just the other day, which was... a picture of the horizon, and it was like you could see past the ocean, and presumably there was some land quite a bit beyond that had huge windmill fans.
Yep.
And so, you know, they look like they're coming out of the ocean sort of thing from past the horizon. And it was just such a simple picture that explains perfectly that the world is obviously definitely round. You know, I mean, there's a million things, but that is obviously
just one of them.
Like a very good, sort of explanation of that. I just thought it was interesting. Anywho, Camber, I think we should move on to podnapping.
All right, now this is the blue button I need to push here.
The blue one.
Oh, what have I done, Nelson? No, just kidding. Here it is.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another podcast, and we do it ourselves.
So, my week this week.
Or another thing.
Thing. This is another thing.
Yeah.
It's my week this week. I actually had one planned, but I don't think it works remotely as well. So I've actually just pivoted just this morning to a new one. And what's the one thing that we don't like to be held on this show? And that's accountable. We don't like to be held accountable for anything we say. So this podnapping is going to go... It's going to contradict that rule that we generally have. What I have here is I have a bunch of things that I want us to make predictions about throughout the year of 2022. And then for the last episode of the year for Podnapping, we will go back through our predictions and we're going to see how well we did. So this is really part one of two. We're going to make a list of predictions that we think will happen in 2022, and then we're going to check them off all the way at the end of the year.
Okay.
Sounds simple enough?
We did do a little bit of this in our special episode, actually, for the end of the year.
Yes, this is more specific, I would say.
A bit more specific, that's fine. But funnily enough, I just remembered the other day, one of the things I said in that episode that wouldn't happen is that a celebrity wouldn't die. And in the first few days, or day, I don't know, Betty White died. I was like, my prediction.
I actually think she didn't make it to 2022.
Oh, she didn't make it? Oh, okay, that's fine.
So you're not wrong yet.
My record's still set. I'm totally fine.
Okay, so yeah, I've got kind of specific categories, and a lot of these predictions will be a bit more specific.
Okay, that's good.
So, I'm going to start off a little easier. With so the biggest movie of 2021 seems to be Spider-Man, right? Yeah. So I've got a list of big movies here, and we need to pick which one we think is going to be the biggest.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we're going to pick what we think the biggest movie is going to be. Here are some of the big ones. Black Panther 2. First Black Panther came out, huge hit, made over $1 billion. Doctor Strange 2. Heavily tying into this multiverse thing. Doctor Strange in Spider-Man. They even chucked the trailer on the end of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The Batman. So the third reboot in like 10 years now with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Avatar 2 comes out in 2022, which, as a bit of insider information for those thinking, who the hell cares about Avatar? It's been 12 years. Yeah, I did do maths. 12 years since the other one. You and I, back in 2009, worked at the movies, and everyone thought that about Avatar before that came out. Everyone was like, well, what the hell is this? And so you never underestimate Avatar. And then I've chucked in a wild card here as well. The last movie is the new Jackass movie. If you think that will actually go on to be the biggest movie of the year. You never know.
Biggest movie. Am I saying of that lot, or could I suggest that
you can
maybe
suggest others.
I just wanted
to give you a couple of examples.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we can choose any of those ones, or I would like to say another film that I don't know exists, like an Inception or something.
You think it's going to be an original film?
Could be. I don't know.
Not attached to any franchise.
The thing is, the Black Panther, I'm still convinced, like, you and I have felt that first movie wasn't, like, one of the strongest Marvel ones. And I'm still of the belief, I mean, and we're definitely in the minority in terms of that, but I'm of the belief that a second one is not going to do very well.
Oh, yeah, and, our opinion on Black Panther is that it's about an average Marvel film quality-wise. I understand. I think that it's a more important film than it is a good film, if that makes sense. Like for what it actually represents, I understand the importance of that, but I think the importance outweighs the quality. The second one, obviously, you've lost Chadwick Boseman, who is Black Panther. It's been delayed now, I think, a couple of times. One of the main reasons is Letitia Wright, who plays his sister in the movies, broke her ankle, had to go back to the UK, and then can't come back in to do with vaccination reasons because she isn't. The rumor is that she's not vaccinated. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that movie that you're like, oh boy, I don't know how this is going to go. About this. And then on top of that, add the massive expectations. Like, many people love Black Panther, and it means so much to them. The other movie that is similar to that was, I would say, Wonder Woman. And then that Wonder Woman sequel, without all the production problems, was such a letdown for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're going to remove Black Panther 2, you think?
I don't think it's going to be good. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be there. And then Doctor Strange, I think, is... There's enough people that don't like or know or watch him in general that I think it won't be a big film either. Like, I think there's people that are on the outskirts of Marvel, right? Where they'll see... Because you have to discount all the Marvel fans. They're going to see it. They're going to love it. It's going to be fine. But it's the people that are like my mum and dad sort of thing that would maybe watch Spider-Man. I mean, I don't think they watch Spider-Man, but... They would maybe watch Spider-Man, but they're probably not going to watch Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think you're right, because let's take Spider-Man, for example, the biggest movie of last year. For example, Stacey's mum couldn't give a shit about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but she will see every Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And she's like, I love Spider-Man. And then she saw the latest Spider-Man and was like, I loved it. It was the best movie ever. You know, so it's like, she doesn't care about Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So, I don't think Doctor Strange carries the same weight with him. I mean, that's not to say that these films they still might be the top grossing film by the end of the year. And I mean, obviously, Avatar 1, the main reason why that grows so much is because it came out in 3D. Yeah. And that meant the ticket prices were expensive. Yeah. So, like, for every ticket, there was an extra $3 percentage.
Yeah. Where we work, it was $3 more. So, add every ticket price and then add $3 to every ticket that was sold to that. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah. And so I think that Avatar 2 won't... I mean, I'm presuming it's not coming out in 3D, but even if it is, I think people just won't see it this time. Because last time we saw it and we were like, oh, yeah, 3D was
Okay.
Fine. But nobody really likes 3D films. It just doesn't work very well. Nobody wants to have to wear the glasses, and it doesn't. The reward versus annoyance does not pay off. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go with another original film we don't know about.
Okay,
it's gonna be biggest.
Okay. I've put you down for an original film. I'm gonna say. I'm actually gonna go with
Jackass.
No, I'm probably gonna regret this, but I'm gonna put down Avatar 2 just because. Never underestimate James Cameron. Yeah. He's a sneaky guy. But see, this disbelief that you say right there, that's what powers him, Nelson. That's exactly what powers him. I don't think it'll be good, and I don't actually necessarily trust it, but I've learnt not to discount him.
I'm still like, I don't know. It just blows my mind because the first like nobody has watched the Avatar since the Avatar came out.
Name the main character in Avatar. I dare you to name him.
George.
Jake. You were close.
I was close.
Okay. So you've gone for an original film, an original property. Mm-hmm. I've gone for Avatar 2. Okay. Next one. This runs contradictory to your claim, though this could still be the answer. Okay. A celebrity that will die.
Okay.
Now, do you want to stick with none? Let's say like
I've said no A-grade ones.
Yeah, you can't say none. No. Where would you rank Bob Saget?
I see him as like more B.
Yeah, he wasn't big in Australia, which I think means he's not A-list.
Yeah. I think no A-listers.
Okay, no A-list.
But 17 B-listers.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to look up oldest celebrities and see what comes up. And then
yeah, that's true actually. There's probably a few.
Well, because I know Clint Eastwood's pretty old.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about him the other day.
Yep. Okay, so
come on, Clint, you can hold out for 2023.
Okay, there's a couple of good ones here. So the top two are actually Betty White and Sidney Poitier, who have both passed away recently. But
we're in the clear.
Mel Brooks. Now, Mel Brooks is 95 years old.
Oh, that's old.
That's pretty good. Clint Eastwood is 91.
Wow, I can't believe he's that old.
And David Attenborough is 95.
Oh, Attenborough could definitely kick the bucket.
Attenborough or Brooks, I think, are both safe bets.
No, they won't die this year.
Okay, I'm going to put... You're going none. I'm going to put Mel Brooks. This feels like a bad
Specifically Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have gone with one, Campo.
No. I wanted specific.
Person.
I wanted specific celebrities.
Okay.
Now this
how
one,
they'd feel about that.
This one is very current, and it may actually be answered by the time this episode goes to air. Mm-hmm. But will Djokovic play in the Australian Open?
What? No, you missed some information, I think.
Well, no. Okay, so at time of recording, the events as I believe them happen is he got an exemption from the Tennis Australia, arrived, was declined entry, was then approved entry, was then revoked again, and is now appealing that second revoke thing for his game that's coming up this week. Yeah.
I don't think he... I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about it, but I think he can't reappeal it because the minister has the right just to... So I'm going to say no.
Okay, let's go no.
Yeah.
Here's one. Will Prince Andrew be formally charged with anything?
Well, I don't think he will. Only because he would then have to... It's currently like a civil case, so then there would have to be another case that happens on top of that, like brand new start from scratch criminal case.
Yeah.
And I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, I know that there is a motion in the US to charge him, but it won't necessarily land because jurisdiction, they can't, It's one of those things where it's like they actually can't technically charge him unless a very specific thing were to happen. He's been stripped of pretty much everything, including, I believe, the title of prince. But we don't think he'll be charged.
Can you be stripped from that? He's no longer Your Highness.
Oh, maybe it's Your Highness, right? Okay.
Yeah, but I think like Prince is like you're just the son of a queen, king and queen.
You're the artist formerly known as Prince. He did strip himself of the title.
That's true.
Okay, we're going to say no. Prince Andrew won't be charged with anything by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't think so. Actually, definitely not. Definitely not by the end of the year. Because this civil court case took years anyway, and they will literally have to start from scratch. That's how it happens. I'm certain that if it's a criminal proceeding, and that won't happen in a year.
It's good. Confidence is good, because then we look better at the end of the year. And we go, yeah, we called it. We called it. Will either of us manage to go overseas this year? There are plans, but as we know, plans in the last couple of years fluctuate. I plan to go overseas many times in the last few years. None of them have happened.
Yes, Canberra, I will be going overseas.
Okay. Great. It's good to know. Here's one that's more local to you and I. 2022 is supposed to be an election year in Australia for our Prime Minister. Will our Prime Minister be re-elected?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Because I really
he has been scandal laden, I would say, more than any other prime minister I've had in recent memory, and all of them have been kicked out. Weirdly, like he's managed to stay, given I would say extraordinary circumstances. Probably have a lot to do with it.
I have faith in the system, just how Trump wasn't re-elected. So I'm going to say that he won't be re-elected.
I'm going to say no out of hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will the Capitol building be stormed when he is not re-elected?
No.
Because it's in Canberra. Nobody wants to go there.
Okay, what will Bitcoin be worth at the end of 2022? So
what is it worth now?
Time of recording, it's worth 50... This is Australian dollars, 59,000.
Bitcoin is worth 59,000.
Yes.
Is it really that high?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Now there has been talk, I believe, in the cryptocurrency thing of like, when will it break the 100,000? That's the next milestone. And it fluctuates so rapidly that I think we need to decide, will it be over or under 100,000, and then work out roughly what we think it'll be based on that.
Yeah.
So let's round up to 60. So we're just over halfway.
Yeah. Here's what I think.
Yep.
The end of the year, it's going to end on 60.
Okay.
It's going to fluctuate so much, it's going to be back where it started.
Okay. I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm going to go, it's going to be 82. Don't know why I did that specific, but there you go.
Okay. I mean, it just seems like such a nonsense thing.
Who knows now? So that's the thing. Neither of us are necessarily basing this on any kind of like hard logic. I don't know. It seems to go up and down a lot.
How does one Bitcoin? How is that worth so much money? That's so effing ridiculous.
Nelson, by the end of 2022, will we have missed a week where we didn't will there be a week where we don't release an app? We've been pretty good thus far.
Nah, haven't missed one yet.
Okay, no, we're pretty confident in that. And here's the other big one. At the December 2022, will COVID still be front of mind? I think we can all agree it'll still be here, but will it still be like at the moment? It's ravishing Melbourne. It's so front of mind. Will it still be front of mind?
Nah.
Okay, no. Great. Okay. There are our predictions. Now, I've got a thing at the end for just any extra predictions that don't necessarily fit into a category. I've added one for myself, which is I predict that Kristen Stewart is going to win the Academy Award for Best Actress.
Okay.
Do you have
anything in particular, or you just think...
For the movie Spencer. For the movie
Okay.
Spencer, where she plays Princess Diana. I think she's going to win the Oscar. Do you have any predictions that you just want to throw out that you think will happen? I've got one. I got one from Stacey. She's not totally happy with it. She told me earlier that Kylie Jenner is having a kid or has just had a kid or something. Her first kid is named Stormy. She's convinced that she's going to name this one Sunny. So it's Sunny and Stormy.
Oh my God. That could be so true.
Yeah. So when I said that, Stacey did say, she's like, well, that makes me seem vapid. That was my prediction for the year. It's like, well, to be fair, she said it in Latin. So it was very impressive.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. You had to get out the Google Translate.
Do you have a prediction for 2020? You just want to add?
What is my prediction? What do I know? What are the things that I know?
What a question. What do I know?
I predict that Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. It's a good one. Yeah. Start with here. I still don't know where I'm going with this, by the way. But
yeah, I've got Elon Musk.
Yeah, but he seems like a fun one to start with.
Yep.
Elon Musk.
Will he get an even worse haircut?
Will. Try to. Oh, okay.
Try to. Yeah. I'm excited to see where you go with this.
Here's what I'm thinking, actually.
Yeah.
Elon Musk will try and get into politics in some way.
Okay, right. Okay, that's a good prediction, I think.
It's kind of a bit crazy. I have no basis of why this would be the case.
I would say that he doesn't need to say I'm running for president or anything like that. He's just going to somehow become involved in politics.
Try to get involved in politics somehow. Because I just feel like it's some weird, crazy thing that he would do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And like following on maybe from the like Bernie Sanders like tweet thing, you know, people giving me crap. Like there might be another political thing that happens and he's like, you know what? I'll do it better myself.
Good. That's a good one. All right. So they're locked in. They're in the time capsule now.
Okay.
By which I mean they're in a Google Doc I've marked to be reopened towards the end of the
Okay. Cool.
So I am very excited to see how many we get. And if anyone wants to add predictions to the time capsule, you can send them through either an email or a Discord. I'll add them all to the same Google Doc.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. I think we should not do the AMA.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, this is a really long episode. And where did it go? Where did the time go? I don't feel like we even talked about anything.
We talked a lot about the phrase, it's in the last place you look, which probably ate up more time than anyone suspected it would.
Nobody suspected that. I just feel like we should. Oh, we could do one, maybe.
Nah. It's not that we don't appreciate people writing in, but you're right. It is a long episode.
Got things to do.
Yeah, we got things to do.
Alrighty. Well, that's it for an episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for writing in. Those that did.
We will get to them. In fact, I think one of the people that wrote in actually wrote in again being like, are they ever going to read my email?
Yeah.
It was set for this week.
I am planning to, for various reasons, to read more AMAs in future. Okay. So maybe we'll catch up on a couple.
Yep. Okay. That sounds good. If you do want to write in and be read on the show, where would they do it, Nelson?
Reddit podcast, READIT podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Facebook, Twitter, and our subreddit. They're all READIT podcast. Would also appreciate if you could subscribe or rate us on any podcasting app that you're listening to us on. That's it.
Yes, including Spotify.
Don't forget
to rate us on Spotify.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we will read